What's up, guys? John.
Cam.
Welcome back to another Mothman Outdoors video.
It's an exciting one.
Today's the day. I don't know why there's not a mic on this. Today's the day we did our interview or our joint video with Mr. Tyson Yates. He's the Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Easton Archery. So, without further ado, here's that video. Well, thanks for joining us on this video. We actually have a 5-0 and another 5-0.
Heck yeah, cool.
Since that's what we're talking about today. So kind of...
Actually, I got a whole bag of them.
Yeah, we got a whole bag.
All right.
So,
I love it. Who's John? Who's Cameron?
I'm John. This is Cameron.
Cameron, nice to meet you.
Cool. You guys too.
Yep, it's finally nice to actually see you on a video that's not on someone else's YouTube channel. So,
that was pre-mustache. I probably looked a little better there.
So down to business, we talked last week on the phone about the 5-0 and some of the concerns that we talked about in our video that you obviously saw, breaking at my wrap point, breaking at his insert point. Kind of talk about, if you don't mind, Tyson, some of the things that you talked to us about that you said might be the reason why those breaks were happening at those certain points.
Absolutely, guys. I mean, first for me, the reason I watched the video is quality is the most important thing at Easton. I mean, it's our number one business priority. Well, I should rephrase that. Our first business priority is, because we are a manufacturing facility, it's safety, and then followed by quality. So we take this stuff extremely serious. The priorities continue to be service, and then the final one is cost. So we won't sacrifice anything if we feel like, just to get a better price point. It's safety, quality, service, and then finally cost. So, I heard you guys were having some issues. For me, we always want to reach out, and it's easily either going to be myself or one of our quality engineers or our quality manager. So I wanted to get kind of a feel for what you guys had that was going on. And I felt like it was a fair review. You broke some arrows, you kind of admitted, I missed the target a bit, it happens, right?
Yeah.
And we all do, right? That's part of shooting a bow and arrow, especially if you're trying to shoot distance. I have fun going out there and sending them at 100 yards with my buddies or my dad or something, it's a good time. So, one of the first questions I asked you guys, and I forget if it was John or Cameron, about, how you glued your inserts in.
Yeah. And I think the issue was one of these little things right here.
That's right. That's right. So hot melt, and guys will comment on this. I know they will. This guy, Tyson, what's his position at Easton? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. You can use hot melt. I've used it for 50 years on carbon arrows and been fine. Well, it couldn't have been 50 years. I haven't been carbon arrows for 50 years. But nonetheless, can you use hot melt on carbon? Sure. But it is very easy to get it too hot. And what you'll do is actually... you'll break down the resin. So in order to hold carbon fiber, carbon fibers are a dry, it's a very dry fiber. So in order to get them to actually adhere to each other, you'll use resin. And any sort of heat and, essentially what they say is if you're holding on to the insert and it gets so hot that you can't hold on to it with your bare fingers, it's too hot, and when you slide it in, you're gonna damage the carbon, and you'll damage the resin. And then I think you were having that breakage right on the backside of the hit insert.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. So once you clarified that you were using hot melt, I thought, yeah, that's exactly what's happening there. And then it's just going to have a weak spot right there where it heated up. And obviously it's not going to break where the insert is. It's reinforced with aluminum.
Yeah.
It's going to break generally right behind it. And you were running collars, correct?
I was not, but John was.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, Cameron, you're going to have a hard time breaking off in front of the insert.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, if you heat up an arrow, you heat up an insert, put it in with hot melt, you're going to have that breakage occur right behind the insert. Yeah. So, my opinion, I think that's, exactly what was going on with that one. The hot melt is just something we do not advise using on anything except for aluminum arrows.
Yeah.
And that's our all aluminum arrows.
Yeah, and that was one of the big things that opened my eyes to it. Was if you go on the internet and you're just researching it, everybody's like, oh, hot melt, easiest way. You can change components whenever you want to use it. You can use it for inserts, for whatever it is. And then when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes complete and total sense. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you go anywhere, someone's going to be, I've used it for years. Like, I've never had issues, but you're right. It's easier to get it wrong than it is to get it right.
Well, and that's why I said in the comments, people are going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, right? That they've used hot melt. And it's not that you can't use it. We just don't recommend it.
Yeah.
And even guys that have done it for 20 years and have, they've screwed some up. They've got it too hot.
Yeah.
They've broke arrows that way. And, aluminum core arrows like our AC line, X10 Parallel Pros, our standard X10s, ACCs, ACEs. I used to hunt with the old AC Hunter Pros, if you guys remember those. And we always still get people wanting that. You can get away with hot melt a little easier in that situation because you've got that internal core jack or core aluminum interior to work as a bit of a buffer. But even then, we see from time to time people heating those up too bad and also, compromising that bond between the core and the carbon and then the carbon itself.
Yeah.
It's obviously resin holding that together as well.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
And then I know I was shooting the match grades and mine were primarily breaking literally where the wrap ended. And I think you kind of diagnosed that problem too with the whip from the top. Yeah.
And I told you, I think it's breaking at the wrap just out of coincidence. I mean, I don't think there's any weak point there because of how you're doing it. But the thing I explained, and I think maybe the main premise that I want to get across to your viewers and just to the audience out there in general is when you go to get a lighter weight arrow, it's carbon arrow, it's higher modulus. So modulus is a function of how much material, how much carbon you need to put in to get a certain stiffness.
Okay.
So the stiffness that you're looking for is an arrow spine. Is it a 300? Is it 250? And essentially you can use less material with a high modulus to get the stiffness that you want. Now, the issue is now that you have less material on the arrow, so it's going to be a thinner wall arrow, and that's how you're getting lighter weight.
Okay.
The trade-off to lightweight, high modulus arrows is going to be, there's no better word to describe it than you're going to sacrifice some durability from lower modulus or even an intermediate modulus like a Sonic arrow or a 6.5 or an Easton Axis. Those are kind of intermediate modulus arrows that hold up if you miss the target and go skipping through the weeds. We don't recommend that. You never know if your arrow will survive that. When you start pushing the envelope with weight and high modulus carbon, and that's just, it's not an Easton exclusive thing. I mean, that is just the material itself and the properties of a high modulus material.
It's the trade-off.
So, it's the trade-off, right? So you trade off some durability for that performance. And I think the example I used with you guys when we talked earlier was, you buy a Ferrari to go fast. If you want to take that, I'm here in Utah. It's where we make our arrows. There's a real popular world-renowned jeeping place called Moab. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it.
We've heard of it. Yep.
You don't bring, and I love it. I dirt bike there. I've jeeped there. I off-road there, a couple times a year. You don't bring your Ferrari to Moab to go on Jeep trails. They're expensive, but they're just not designed to go off-road like a Jeep or a Toyota pickup truck or something like that.
So if you're looking for a pickup truck caliber arrow, you're not going to get Ferrari speed out of it.
No, you're not. Yeah. And I don't know how big you guys, we've never met in person. I'm 5'10". I've got a 28-inch draw. In order to get speed, I've got to shoot something a little lighter, and I like a little bit of speed. And the trade-off for that is if I miss the target with an Axis arrow or a 6.5 or a Sonic or an FMJ, pretty good chance I'll be able to pick it up. Always flex test your arrows if you're not familiar with it. On every arrow, not just exclusive to Easton, on every arrow, there's instructions there on a website you go to flex it first. And it teaches you how to test and make sure you haven't compromised that arrow. But if you miss a target, or if you're slapping arrows together, I see guys all the time. They want a Robin Hood an arrow, and they're stacking in 6 or 8 or 12 arrows in a hockey puck. And what's happening is when those arrows stop, the tail of the arrow is slapping all of the other arrows that are already in the target, and you hear that slap, slap, slap. That's not a good sound.
Right. Yeah.
I get my arrows at no cost. I work for Easton. I don't shoot. I don't try to stack in groups of 6 or 12 arrows at close range. If you're getting to where you're grouping like this, shoot one arrow, then shoot at a different point. I mean, just avoid slapping your arrows together. You're going to save yourself a lot of money in the long run.
Right. It's great for content, just not for the wallet.
That's right.
Yeah.
I might smile. I guess I should smile when you slap arrows together like that. It means we're going to sell another one.
Yeah,
But
that's true,
I mean, I don't want people to spend money on things they don't need to. It's an expensive enough hobby as it is. And care for your arrows, right? And that's one way to care for them, especially as you move to higher modulus, lighter weight, high performance arrows. Similar to like the backpacking world. If you're a lightweight backpack kind of guy, I've been into that lightweight backpacking world for a while. You go to like a carbon pole tent, you got to treat them good, man. It's not like an aluminum set where you can kind of bang up and beat up on, or a fiberglass set that they have that are cheaper and heavier. So you just have to be aware of those trade-offs, and then just treat your equipment a little bit differently, or make your purchasing decision differently.
Right. Okay.
Right? If you're expecting to be able to, want to miss a target and have better chance of survival, or just want a more durable arrow, I would just advise you, even if it's not an Easton arrow, don't chase weight. Don't look for lightweight at that point. Like your trad shooters, they like to stump shoot and walk around the woods. They need something. If they go with a real lightweight, high modulus arrow from anyone, they're not going to be happy with that result. They're just going to break on them.
Yeah. And I think that was mine and Cameron's biggest thing, especially when you reached out and we started to talk about it. What we didn't want to have happen is what happened to us, where guys see this arrow and they're like, wow, 300 and some feet per second. I'm a 29-inch draw shooting 70 pounds and I'm hitting 324 with your arrow, but I don't have that durability if I miss. And what we didn't want is guys are throwing 200, 200, 200, and they're like, why are all my arrows breaking? And we might be able, with this video and your help, to save them from doing that.
Yeah.
Sure. And think about it. You're shooting 324 feet per second. That's cooking if you miss the target.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine, if you put 40% off of that, or 40 feet per second off that, that's what, 15 to 20% slower. That is probably going to save it a little bit as it goes skipping. So you got the velocity as a factor, and you've got the thinner wall, higher modulus carbon. It's just not going to be as durable as you're going to get out of like an Axis, which is why it's still in our line and still a very popular seller for us. People love that just durability, workhorse aspect of the Axis, the FMJ, 6.5 line. Those are kind of your real workhorse. Call them your hammers, right? Bang them around, beat them up a little bit more. You're just going to treat this tool a little bit differently, this arrow a little bit differently than you would those.
Yeah, and that's like last year was my first year ever bow hunting, and I killed my first animal with an Easton. It was an Easton Axis.
Cool. What'd you kill?
It was just a nice little button buck. A little something small.
Good for you, man.
My first deer ever. And I found this in a tree about a week later. Perfectly intact, perfectly fine, flexed fine. The broadhead I lost, but we love the Easton products, and I think that was our big thing. We were like, dang, the Axis did so good. Why are the 5.0s? Because we ran them all last year. Like, why the 5.0s just breaking on us? And then after hearing you, it opened up our eyes to exactly what was going on. So yeah, we're definitely happy that you reached out and explained a little bit to us and to our viewers exactly what was going on with the arrows.
For sure. I just think, it's one of those things. I think arrows all day, every day, right? It's we design them, we manufacture them. Easton's unique in that way, right? We actually make our arrows in the building I work in every day, right? And when you can go down there and see that process and work with the engineers and really understand from hundreds of employees that we have making and designing and engineering arrows, you really start to understand some of those trade-offs, some of the good, the bad, and the ugly for different products. And I just think it's wise, like you said, you see a new product out there, you get excited about it, you want to go buy it. I mean, double check and make sure it's for you. I have a personal philosophy. I think you guys listened to me maybe on the Elk Shape podcast. I don't remember where maybe it was Dudley's, but my personal credence is I like speed. I've missed animals. I've never missed an animal or lost an animal because of a right-left placement. Yeah. It's always been an up-down placement of either a miss or hitting a no man's land on an elk. And I missed the biggest bull elk I've ever had within bow range 3 years ago because I decided to shoot a really heavy arrow. I just wanted to try it. People were telling me, oh yeah, elk hunting, you get this big heavy arrow. Well, I shot probably about 2 inches underneath his, right in that sweet spot, in his elbow. And 3 inches higher, I probably would have killed him. Yeah. Right. And the difference between a hit and a miss was 10 yards. I didn't have time to range him. I'd ranged a tree. I kind of had a good idea. I guessed he was 10 yards, I was 10 yards off of my estimation and missed.
Yeah.
With my 5.0s, those 10 yards aren't a big deal.
Yeah.
I'd still hit that elk and kill him every time.
I agree with
so
that.
So for me, that trade-off when I get in a hunting situation, especially being a Western hunter, I like hunting on the ground. I like spot stock. I like calling. You find yourself in situations where, okay, yeah, I hit that bull. He was at 60 yards coming in, and he walked 10 yards or 15 yards or 7 yards or 7. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can come pretty close. I think he walked about 10 yards. And I can be 10 yards on either side of that and still kill him every time. To me, that trade-off, because of the way I hunt, that trade-off is worth it.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest with you. If I was strictly an Eastern hunter or Midwest guy hunting whitetails, probably not going to shoot much past 30 yards on a whitetail, maybe 35.
Yep.
I hear crazy stories of people doing more. I think they just react way too quickly to have my whitetail experience is limited, but from my limited experience, it's sorry about that, guys.
It's okay.
From my limited experience, whitetail hunting, they react too quickly where you're just gonna.
You need the speed.
You're not going to be able to have the distance, I guess, is my point.
Yeah.
To not need any, so if you're not going to be shooting 50, 60, 70 yards in the whitetail woods. Mm-hmm. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Right. So because of that, if I were hunting strictly whitetail, honestly, I'd probably shoot an Axis or an FMJ.
Yeah.
That'd be the arrow in my quiver at all times. I would want the weight. I think that extra weight makes it a little more forgiving for your quartering shots and a little bit of unpredictable angles that you get whitetail hunting. I think you'd be a much better situation with a heavier arrow.
Yeah.
Again, that's my personal opinion.
Right.
And the people in the comments will disagree with me that that's their opinion. That's the good thing about archery. You can kind of have your opinion. What I'm saying isn't gold. It's just how I've accustomed myself to hunting. And that's, what you get used to. And if you deviate from what you're used to, you do what happened to me and you miss an elk low that if I'd have stuck with the setup I had confidence in, which was a speed lightweight setup, then I would have had, I think a much different outcome.
Yeah. And that makes total sense what you're saying, because, me and Cameron have actually talked about this, because we did a small video and we noticed something in one of our videos that we did, that we were hearing a noise difference between a 4-fletch and a 3-fletch. And 4-fletch was quieter than the 3-fletch. And when you're talking about an animal such as whitetail that solely relies on their hearing as their self-defense mechanism, where we are in the dense woods of West Virginia, when you're shooting, you are close, so you want something that's fast and quieter, so they don't load on those back legs as quick, and you get a better shot versus a kill shot versus a bad wound, and they run off and you miss that trophy buck. So it makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think that's what's exciting about archery, right? You get a tinker, you try your things. Other guys out there are going to love 4-fletch and think, wow, stabilizes better. And oftentimes, I don't even necessarily know if there's a right and a wrong. It's more what I tell my sales reps and just, our staff internally is we sell confidence. Mm-hmm. We want people to have confidence in Easton arrows and in their choice of whatever it is, right? If you like 4-fletch, I want you to have confidence in that. If you like 3, if you like 6, crazy fletching configurations, yeah. If that helps you and gives you confidence, I think it's great. An example, he works for a competitor, but Tim Gillingham, big time archery influencer, good, great guy, good friend of ours here. He, has been known to do some really odd things in target archery. Like, what do you got going on with your bow today? He's always got some new configuration he's made, but it works for him. He's confident in him and he wins. He does really, he's a great shooter. So whatever you have confidence in, at the end of the day, to me, that's what's most important. And what I want your viewers to know, I want to be able to have confidence in Easton, right? We make our products in the USA. We're the only ones doing that. We're the only ones designing, engineering, and manufacturing our own stuff. But also to understand, depending on the area you choose, there's some trade-offs one way or another. Yeah. And to, maybe not be so influenced by the world that says, hey, this new thing is what you have to have. Yeah. Maybe that new thing is different than what you've hunted with. Maybe you've hunted with an old camo hunter for an old XX75 for the last 30 years, and it's worked for you and you've got a ton of confidence in it. Shoot that, right? Shoot what you have confidence in and what's been working for you, because when you deviate from what you're used to me, that's the potential biggest risk in archery, because when you get in that moment of being able to shoot that buck or that elk or whatever you're hunting, you don't have time to think, oh yeah, I went to these heavier arrows, I'm not going to have to forgive this on pin gap like I used to. What do I do? And if you do start thinking that way, now you're not thinking about executing the shot. You're in your own head, and you're probably going to miss anyway.
Yeah.
So do what you believe in. If it's similar to what I believe in, great. If it's the complete opposite and you like a super, super heavy arrow, that's also great, because that's what you're used to and how you're used to hunting. And to get you to deviate from that, I think I'd do you more of a disservice. Even if you did go buy our latest product and we made some money on it, I think I'd do you a disservice, because you're deviating from what you're used to.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because as soon as we've gotten into archery, back into archery over the last couple of years, we've even said in the archery community, everything is written in mud and it's raining outside, so it could change by the end of the week. Yeah. So, but speaking on confidence, one thing we wanted to make sure our viewers know, and we're not saying that you can do this for everybody, but you did it for us, and you replaced both sets of our arrows, and you didn't have to do that because we told you that it broke because we were usually missing the target, but you did it anyway. So again, we can't say that you guys, Easton, would do that for everybody in any circumstance, but for us, we really appreciate it, and that helped instill our confidence back in you guys, and we appreciated you helping with us and working with us and taking care of us. We really did.
For sure. No, and thank you guys. And honestly, we're going to stand behind our products no matter who buys them, whether you're an online influencer or a customer, just a guy out there shooting archery in his backyard. Like, every person who's into archery is a friend of ours, whether or not you shoot Easton products. I don't really care. If you're out shooting a bow and arrow, that's what I love to do. That's what Easton loves to do. The whole family have put their entire life for 3 generations into archery. So we happen to make archery equipment that we believe in, and but there's other stuff out there. If that's what you believe in, I think that's awesome as well. Anybody with a bow and arrow in their hands, a friend of ours. So for all of your viewers, we stand behind our products. Like I said, I wouldn't suggest hot melt to anybody. If you didn't know it, if you made a mistake, you call into customer service. Hey, I didn't know this. I shouldn't have used hot melt, but I did. In most situations, we're just going to take care of you. And my personal philosophy with that is there's very few people out there that actually are trying to abuse companies. And you find those people very rarely, and extremely rarely in archery, frankly. When in doubt, we just take care of customers, and we let them know, hey, this isn't really a warranty issue. This was hey, you probably shouldn't have done that, but we'll take care of you issue. And, I allocate budget every year to be able to do that and make sure we're taking care of people and just, giving back to them, and just, again, giving them confidence that if they buy our products and make a mistake, we're going to do our best to stand behind it as well.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, you have any other questions?
No, we're good to go.
Tyson, thank you so much for allowing us to do this and being on this video. That's it. Thank you. Thank you
we
so
appreciate
much.
you.
Appreciate you guys. Love what you do. Think you guys do an awesome job. Love your page and your videos. Keep it up. I think the archery industry needs this. It needs people to be doing what you're doing. It's cool that you're kind of getting into it, right? And I thought it was really cool talking to both of you. You didn't want to argue about what happened. You were straight up, told me what happened. Oh crap, we made a mistake. Hey, we'll own our mistake if you'll jump on a video with us. And it's not about who screwed up, right? It's not about this, that. It's about making sure that we're all having a good experience in archery. And I just really appreciated you guys and the way you handled the whole situation. So thanks a bunch. And if y'all need anything, I'll watch the comments for a little while personally as well once you post the video, and I can jump in just on my personal YouTube and respond to any questions. So if any of y'all need questions for me, don't bash my mustache. My wife doesn't like it either. Outside of the mustache questions, I'm up to answer anything. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Tyson, we'll be in contact later, buddy.
All right. Take care, guys.
Later.
Bye.
All right. So that was it. Hopefully that answers some of the questions that you guys might have about the 5.0 and why it was breaking, and hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that we did on, the hot melt and missing a target at 80, 90 yards, because Ferrari speed does not equal Ford Super Duty tough. I don't know if that's the best example. That's just the one that came to my mind, but because we both drive Toyotas, so that makes no sense. But Cam?
Yeah, that's exciting. It's a lot of information. Tyson elaborated very well on what he thought was going on with our arrows. You'll see it. Everybody else will. This was my issue for mine.
Hot melt.
and doing it improperly. Like you said, like somebody out there is gonna be like, "Hey, I've done it for years." Ever since I figured that out and talked to him, I've switched to using glue, put my inserts in. But yeah, it's super exciting to actually have a company to reach out and try to explain what they thought was going on with the product.
Yeah.
A lot of them do that. Some are gonna be like, "Oh well, you broke it,"
because they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So I agree. That was pretty awesome that he did that, and somebody was watching. So
Yeah.
whoever it was that tipped him off, we appreciate you too.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Because we were incorrect, and we'll be the first to admit that. Speed does not always equal toughness. Like Tyson said in the video, sometimes you got to figure out if the speed is worth giving up that durability and vice versa. So kind of the same thing me and Cameron have always said on this channel: figure out what's best for you, shoot that, always shoot that, and you'll be great.
Be on the lookout. We're doing a giveaway for a whole new set of 5.0s and the FMJ Maxes from Easton. We have those coming in soon. Once we get them in, look on the Instagram. We'll be doing a giveaway for them.
So that's it. And also don't forget, we're still doing the giveaway on the Dial-Proof Archery site. One that looks just like that one right there. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel, follow us on Instagram. Once we get 1,000 subs and 1,000 follows, we're gonna pick one of you that does both at random.
Yep.
Figure out what bow you shoot, send the site that fits your bow. So
Yeah, that's it.
later, guys.
Later.